Still in 5.1 number theory, and we're doing the least common multiple. So in order to find the least common multiple between two numbers or three numbers, here's the steps. Okay, so if I want to find the least common multiple, or sometimes people say LCM, between 12 and 18, first you just do the prime factorization. You do a factor tree. So here's 24. 2 times 12 is 24. 2 times 6 is 12, and 2 times 3 is 6. So these are prime numbers. So we have 2, 2, 2, and 3. So 24 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. How many 2's do I have? 3 of them. So I can write it 2 to the power of 3 and 3 to the power of 1. But when it's a 1, we don't have to write it. So we write it this way. And this says 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Here, if we do the prime factorization for 18, what times what is 18? 2 times 9, and then 9 is 3 times 3. So I have 1, 2, and 2 3's. So 18 is equal to 2 times 3 times 3. I have 2 3's, so I can put a little exponent here, 2. So this means 3 times 3. And again, we don't have to use the 1 if we own the 1 up here on the exponent. We just do 2. Okay, so now we have this. So once we find the prime factorizations of both numbers, then we have to pick the biggest, the highest power of each number. So here, 2. This has a 2 and this has a 2. Which exponent is bigger? The 3. This one has a 1 and this has a 3. So I'm going to choose this one. Oops, here, we already have it here. So here, 2 to the 3 is bigger than 2 to the 1. So I'm going to choose 2 to the 3. Now we have 3 with a 1 and 3 with a 2. This is bigger, so I'm going to choose 3 to the 2. So now, this means 2 times 2 times 2. This means 3 times 3. And if I put that in my calculator, it says it's 72. So our lowest common multiple between these two numbers is 72. Let's look at the next one. So, find the lowest common multiple between 318 and 504. So 318, 2 times 100, and because that's an 8, I know to go, I can divide by 2. So let's do 318 divide by 2. Okay, 2 times 159. If I add those together, it's 6, and that's a 9. 6 and 9, that means it's divisible by 3. So I can go divide by 3. 3 times 53. That doesn't get any smaller. Okay, that's a prime number. So here's my prime numbers. I have a 2 and a 3 and a 53. They all have 1s, so I just write it like this. Oops, I did a mistake. That should be 318. 318. 318 is equal to 2 times 3 times 53. I have a mistake here too. So here, if I do the factorization, the prime factorization of 504, because this ends in a 4, I know I can divide by 2. So 504 divided by 2, 2 times 52. I can divide by 2 again because it ends in a 2. Divide by 2, 2 times 126. 6 ends in an even number, so I can divide by 2. 2 times 63 is 126. 3, so this is divisible by 3, this is divisible by 3, so that means I can divide 63 by 3. So let's go divide by 3. 3 times 21 is 63. And 21, 2 plus 1 is 3, so that can be divided by 3. So that's 7. So here, 504 is equal to 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 2's, 2 3's, and 1 7. So I take those 2's and I say I have 3 of them. I have 2 3's and 1 7. So I write it this way. That should be 504. Okay. So now I have to choose. Let's look at the 2's. So 2 to the 1, 2 to the 3. Which one's bigger? 2 to the 3, so I choose that. Here, 3 to the 1, 3 to the 2. 2 is bigger, so I choose that. This doesn't have a 7, this has a 7, so I just choose the 7. This has a 53, this doesn't, so I have to choose the 53. And then, 2 to the 3 means 2 times 2 times 2. 3 to the 2 means 3 times 3, and then I just multiply this out. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 7 times 53. Oh, that's a big number. And that's the lowest common multiple of those numbers. So let's look at the next one. Let's do an example. Okay? So how would you actually do this? So, to find the lowest common multiple, you just find the prime factorization for each number. So 48. What times what is 48? Well, that ends in an 8, which is an even number, so I can do 2. 48 divided by 2, 24. So 2 times 24 is 48. Ends in an even number, so I can divide by 2 again. So 2 times 12 is 24. 2 is an even number, so I can do it again. Divide by 2, that's 6. 2 times 6 is 12, and I can do it again 2 times 3. So now 48 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 2's. So I go 2 to the 4 times 3. Okay, so now we do it again, but we do it with 60. Well, 6 is 2 times 3, so I can go 2 times 30. Okay, you don't have to do 2 times 30. You can go 6 times 10. It doesn't matter how you divide 60 up. There's many different ways to do it, and every way is going to be correct, as long as you do the multiplying correct. So 6 times 10 is 60. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 5 is 10. There's our prime numbers. So then I go 60 is equal to, well, I have 2 2's, I have a 3, and I have a 5. So now my lowest common multiple for 48 and 60, you don't have to write this part, but I'm used to writing that part. It just says the lowest common multiple of 48 and 60 is equal to, so let's look at the 2's. Here I have 2 to the 4 and 2 to the 2. Well, 2 to the 4 is bigger, so I take that one. I have a 3 and a 3. They're both the same, so you just pick a 3. Well, this doesn't have a 5 and this has a 5, so I have to take the 5. So now in my calculator, I can think of this as 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5, or I can just put it in my calculator like this. 2 to the exponent 4 times 3 times 5, 240. So my LCM, my lowest common multiple, is 240. So let's do the next one, 30. Well, that's 3 times 10, and 10 is 2 times 5. So 30 is equal to 2 times 3 times 5. We always try to write them from small to big. So don't go 3 times 2 times 5. It's correct, but it's just nicer to make it go the small numbers up to the big numbers. Let's do 45. 5. It ends in a 5, so I know I can divide it by 5. So 45 divided by 5, 9. Ooh, 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so now I go 45 is equal to, we do the 3's first because they're smaller, and I have 2 of them, and I have a 5. So now my lowest common multiple of 30 and 45 is, I have a 2, no 2. So I have to choose that one. I have a 3 that's to the power of 1 and 3 to the power of 2, so that's, I have to take the biggest one. And they both have the same 5, so I take the 5. So in my calculator, I'm going to go 2 times 3 squared times 5. 90. So my lowest common multiple is 90. Let's do 3 numbers. So 15, that's 3 times 5. Oh, that's it. Okay, let's do 20. That's 4 times 5. Oh, we can make 4 smaller by 2 and 2. Okay, so 20 is equal to 2, and I have 2 of them, times 5. 30 is 3 times 10, and 10 is 2 times 5. So then we have 30. Now don't write the 3 first, write the 2 first because he's smaller. And then write the 3, and then write the 5. So it goes from small to big. Okay, so my LCM of 15, 20, and 30 is, you don't have to write that, you can just write LCM. You can write it like this. It's the same thing. So do we need a 2? Yes, I have a 2 to the 2 and a 2 to the 1, so I have to take the biggest one, so 2 to the 2. 3, they both have the same, 3 to the 1, so I choose that. This has a 5, and a 5. Well, they're all the same, so I just need a 5. So let's put that in our calculator. 2 squared times 3 times 5. 60. So our lowest common multiple is 60. Let's do one more. Let's do this one. So 8. Prime factorization of 8 is 2 times 4. Oh, that's 2 times 2. So 8 is equal to 2. 1, 2, 3 of them. Okay, then we have 16. That's 2 times 8. 8 is just 2 times 4, and 4 is 2 times 2. How many do I have? I have 4 of them. So 16 is equal to 2, and I have 4 of them. 20. Well, 20 is 4 times 5, and I can make 4 smaller by 2 times 2. So 20 is equal to 2 squared times 5. So my LCM of 8, 16, and 20 is equal, you can just, oops, don't put an equal sign there. Let's move that over. LCM, the lowest common multiple of 8, 16, and 20 is, or you can just write LCM. You don't have to write that part. So 2. I have 2 to the 3, 2 to the 4, and 2 to the 2. I have to choose the biggest one, so 2 to the 4. And then I have a 5, so I have to choose him, because he's the biggest 5. So 2 to the 4 times 5. Let's do 2 to the 4 times 5. 80. So my lowest common multiple here is 80.